Are you an entrepreneur or ready to become a boss? Welcome to Hawaii Boss, the business podcast made in Hawaii, where you will hear from island movers and shakers on who they are and their impact on our state. And now, step into the office of your host for Hawaii Boss, David Pettijohn.
Aloha, Hawaii Boss podcast fam listening in out there, wherever you do like to listen in. You can watch us, of course. We're on YouTube. We're doing a Zoom call, and so you can see and watch and see all the great people that we bring on. This week, we're super excited. We're going to the Big Island. I spent a lot of time on the Big Island, and there's parts of it look like it's deserty and sort of, but we're excited to go down right to the coast where there's some business going on. A lot of people don't even know about it. There's a beautiful Kona Salt Farm down there. We're excited to go to the boss's office. If you look in there, and it doesn't look like too tough of an office over there. Ipo Morgan and Jen Hughes are here with us today as representatives from Kona Salt Farms, and the two of you, aloha and welcome.
Aloha. Aloha.
So, listen, salt. We all look at the little salt with the yellow umbrella lady. We think salt. It's the same stuff, and the ionization. Listen, tell us what's Hawaii salt. I got to get some, but what is it that you guys are doing over there? You're pulling it right out of the ocean. What's happening?
Well, for us here at the Kona Salt Farm, our salt is pretty unique. And unique in the sense that we source it from 2,200 feet of deep sea water. And we're the only ones in the world actually to be able to source it from that depth. And the reason for that is beside us, and we'll take a pan out to the mountain that I am referring to, but to the right of me, we have this one mountain.
Hualalai?
Yeah, Hualalai, exactly. Mm-hmm. In 1801, she erupted, and when she did, she took our shoreline out 1 mile. And because we're the youngest island in the Hawaiian island chain, she took us right up to that ocean shelf. So pretty close. So within a few hundred yards, we are now at that ocean shelf to be able to tap into that 2,200 feet of water. So in that regard, we're very, very unique. And also, because of where that water is coming from, it's very mineral rich. Unlike our surface seawater, it's very rich in magnesium, potassium, and calcium, so that added health benefits for you.
Well, so, yeah, a lot of people don't, people worry that's from the doctor's, too much salt, but we know, every mineral is necessary for us, I guess, is within the right composition. So these health benefits, what are some of the health benefits of salt and this kind of salt?
Well, for us, so say in comparison to just table salt, like normal table salt,
right,
that compared to deep sea salt is 30% less sodium. And the reason for that is other 30% is made up of magnesium, potassium, and calcium. Now magnesium, higher in magnesium in the sense that during this evaporation process, sodium, calcium, and potassium evaporates at the same rate. And what's left now is mineral-rich magnesium. We do have a byproduct of that evaporation process, which is high in magnesium. Now, most of us is magnesium deficient. Mm-hmm. So, and magnesium is a miracle mineral. Our body needs that in our, within our system to function properly. And one of the biggest symptoms of magnesium deficiency is cramping. So if you're one to cramp easily or cramp at night, many times it's because of magnesium deficiency. And it's very tough to get magnesium or the amounts that we need in our body through the foods that we eat. So
yeah, my dad lives by that. He's used to get this sciatic, and he says I take the magnesium, and it just kind of helps to deal with that. I'm like, I guess as I get older, I might start feeling those things. I think I might be feeling a little bit already, but so we have to take care of our bodies. We learn that there's a certain balance, and you can't just eat Doritos and soda. Right. There's this balance that is natural on the earth. That if we consume these things, so amazing. So you've been able to, first of all, being able to harvest it. That's who's got the brains to? How did this start? Where's the foundation of this? Was it a group with the government, or was it some sort of investment group? Because we're interested in how you create these dynamic sort of businesses by working with the ocean.
Well, the original property was actually owned by a research and development project called AquaSearch. And over time, that company eventually faded out. But during that course, they actually started this deep sea water evaporation as a pet project. And that evolved to producing deep sea salt 100% of the time. And then during that course, that research and development company actually closed down, and deep sea salt production then took over.
Okay.
And so in a matter of, I believe, 17 years, they went from ending their research and development project to now producing deep sea salt 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
During that course of it being a pet project, when they first started, there was an employee here that worked alongside with the scientists, because it was actually a couple of scientists that had said, hey, we have this resource of 2,200 cubic feet of water. Let's see what happens when we evaporate. And so they did, but there was another employee here. And eventually, when that company closed down, the scientists left, and the last person that was actually here was that one person that worked alongside with those scientists. Today, we call her our last woman standing. She's also a salt maker. So she actually defined that process of deep sea water evaporation. Her name is Melanie Kelly. We call her Mel for short.
Okay.
She refined that process of deep sea water evaporation to what we know today.
Well, yeah, when you see the pictures on your website of that, just that rich, clean salt, it's just the most beautiful thing. You think, okay, well, salt is salt, but sometimes harvesting it from all over the world, different places, it's not doesn't feel as clean as that, and such a pure source.
Yeah, in different areas of salt production, depending on where it's coming from, you can have mine salt, you can have surface seawater salt. Like in Peru, they have these plateaus, right? And they divert water. So you have that kind of salt. You have Himalayan salt, that's mine salt. And for us, we're the only ones, like I could share, in the world to produce that 2,200 water. And also the area that the salt is coming from has different types of minerals in there. So fortunately for us, the minerals that we have actually comes and sources straight from Greenland.
Okay.
So, the backstory on that is, on our globe, we have what's called this deep sea ocean current system, or what we know as our ocean global conveyor belt. So unlike our surface current systems that switches and changes based on our surface weather, and it moves quite quickly, this deep sea current system is quite the opposite. It has a specific route that it takes, and it doesn't deviate from. Well, its course of travel, it passes Greenland, where all that mineral-rich ice is. And when that ice melts, that minerals sink to the bottom, because minerals are denser. So they sink to the bottom, get onto this deep sea current system, and fortunately for us, that current system passes our ocean shelf. So now we're tapping into mineral-rich deep sea water. So, it's very, very slow moving.
Sure.
It doesn't get here in a day or two. It takes about 900 years for it to make its way to Hawaii. So very, very old water as well. But because of where it's coming from, it makes our salt rich in those minerals. Himalayan salt, you have different types of minerals in that salt. Different areas, different types of minerals.
So now tell us, okay, you must be international. You're sending stuff out all over the world. People come and visit you from where, and how are you getting this to market?
So, yes, we're sending it all over the world, and it's nice because people do come to visit us. I think it's beautiful because we're able to have this produce the Hawaii product 100%. It's one of the few, if not the only, 100% Hawaiian salt. A lot of times it's interesting because we're not as regulated. Salt in Hawaii is not highly regulated. So there's a lot of other companies that even I grew up with that I bought, my parents have been buying for years, that I thought everybody thinks it's Hawaiian salt, but it may not be made in Hawaii, surprisingly. But that being said, we're able to share what we do here and create a very sustainable business and be able to produce high quality product and share that with the world, really,
Well, I'm also excited. There was a friend of mine and then some recent guests on there. They were able to go to that venue and actually spend some time. So it's not only a farm, but there's also sort of because it's a beautiful space out in Kona, you use it you invite other people out to come and, weddings, or tell us a little bit about that.
So not only do we produce salt, and that's a very labor intensive process. The beautiful thing is that we do have such a great team here, and everybody wears multiple hats. We do salt tours. And Ipo actually does an excellent job. That's why I totally defer to her with all those details.
You're like, yes, you're learning still from Ipo too, it looked like. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Sharing about what we do here, a little bit of the history, how it ties in culturally, and just people are wanting to learn and have that kind of experience, especially when they travel. But not only that, it's like local people want to be able to support local businesses.
Right.
How do we sustain ourselves here in the islands, and how do we give back? And so here at the farm, we are able to sustain much more efficiently because we do salt tours now. So you can come on down and you can take a salt tour, and then also where we're at, because we're right on the ocean, it really lends itself very nicely to being an event space. So we have one venue space. We call it our prime real estate right now. It's right on the edge. It's beautiful, and that's kind of that I mostly wear here. Is I'm the event coordinator here at the farm. So we've had weddings, we can do meetings, we can do baby luau's. I mean, it's really whatever you just want to do a private event, we can do that. We're building out our second event space as well, where we can, in that space, we could probably host over 200 people.
Sure.
In addition to that, you're right near the salt beds. So, yeah.
We get to see the whole process, and then it's interesting new thing to talk about because a lot of people don't know. And, I think, you're right. I think a lot of people are looking for a different thing than going and buying a matching muumuu and a shirt, how it used to be where, the tourists would come. But now they're trying to see the whole, how does Hawaii, how do you give back? How do you, participate in what Hawaii is trying to do? And so with all this effort and everything, it sounds like it's going well, but how is the pandemic and that we're coming out of that now? Things back to normal, or was it a rough go? Tell us how your experience was. Were you it feels like you guys are...
Well, yeah, things are great now, but when the pandemic first hit, the original company, it was a hard time. Before Sandra Gibson, who's the owner of the Kona Salt Farms today, but prior to her becoming the owner, when COVID had hit, we were on the verge of closing our doors. So it was by a different owner.
Sure.
And Mel, our chief salt maker, had sent out notice letting people know we were actually going to close down. And Sandra Gibson actually stepped in and showed interest in wanting to merge with us. She eventually took over the company. But with that came lots of change and lots of great change. So all this expansion, we have tours, we have people visiting now, different types of projects that's happening here. And Jen had talked about sustainability and getting that word out about what we're doing here. It's like Sandra was saying about the culture of Hawaiian it's a give and take, right? You don't just take and take and take. So this is an opportunity to give back as well. And we do work with other projects here, like Papahanaumokuakea, which is a project that actually, we give.
Which is our give back partner. So since the very beginning, we've always given back 1% of our proceeds. Cleanup efforts. There's a specific nonprofit that does a lot of the cleanup there, PMDP. But they basically clean up Papahanaumokuakea, one of the largest ocean sanctuaries. You're probably familiar, David.
Sure.
And so, it's nice because we harvest from the ocean, but we also we give back. So we're super excited about that.
Well, that's, the thing about Hawaii, and one we always try to talk about here is doing business with aloha and maintaining those values and sort of, making sure the mission aligns with what's happening on the ground rather than just,
Absolutely.
The take is, sometimes the big companies that come in and I think the ones that stick around, again, you can't, there's always challenges in business, but if you can find out how to align with the community and, create those, I guess that network of support that give back, and everybody gives of what they've gotten, and somehow we kind of are able to stabilize and work it out. And Kona's special too. It's got its own little microeconomy on the Big Island. What are you seeing for you folks? Maybe a little boutique up at Waikoloa, or where do you see things going for salt and for you folks? And now that we're coming out of the pandemic, where do you see yourselves here?
I feel like we're kind of just getting started. I mean, it's not where we're trying to, I guess I always talk about events, and for us, it's not where there's so many resorts, there's so many beautiful properties. You know, we're a salt farm. And we're not trying to be anything that we're not.
Right.
We're really tied into what we do here. We all believe in what we do, and we're all happy to share what we do. And it really just comes from the purest of heart of trying to be conscious of what we're doing, using sustainable packaging and what we do, having quality products. It's a very labor intensive process. But as a team, we're all very supportive with each other. And that's, I think, what we can do, even though we have 7 acres down here right by the ocean. But because we're a small business, we can be very conscious with the types of decisions and being purposeful with those decisions moving forward. And so I think we're just going to be doing us, you know, be doing more of the same and being able to share that more and more. And hopefully more people will gravitate towards that and know that we're here and support what we're doing.
Sure. Well, it's sort of a sparse, dry area. If you've been out there, but it's kind of by the airport out there. It's you know, if you're imagining Hawaii, it's not that exactly, but it's such a stark contrast with the beautiful blue ocean that comes off there, and then you know, there's a whale season. I'm sure you've got some great views of the whales now. It's just finishing up. Yeah. So is there a way? I don't know if it feels like there's an ocean breeze coming right there. Is there a way you can see the camera?
Is it okay if we can turn you?
Yeah. Let's take a little bit. Take a look there.
Let's see if the light's going to allow us to do this. But so this is our venue space. This is part of the farm. Can you see that?
That's great. You can see out to the right there and now in the center the chairs and things, and then a nice open space with some lava and is that a kiave tree out there? Just wanting to let you know that don't go out there.
Don't go. Yeah, no, it's fine actually.
Yeah. I'm teasing, but yeah, you always got to be careful. Again, it's a different landscape than the rest of Hawaii, the Big Island, with all of its. I think I've heard like 8 different
It's a much more natural landscape. I mean, our oceanfront area right there. The landscape is kind of a mix of sand and crushed coral and crushed lava. But you know, people love that. I mean, it may not be for everybody, but it's really like, I love to just say, as far as like having a event or a party here, it's like having a really good friend in Hawaii. It kind of has a pretty cool backyard.
Yeah.
And that's what we're celebrating. You know?
Well, especially, sunsets are beautiful over there. Plus that evening breeze as it comes across there. There's really nothing like it. So excited. So if you have a venue, you got ideas, you want to check it out, you can go down and they would call you, Jen.
Yes.
And just go online. Is there a place to go online to schedule an event, or they just
go to our main website? It's konasaltfarm.com. Okay. And on there, it'll show the products that we offer. It'll show the magnesium drops, which I take personally, and I love that. But it also talks about the event spaces, and you can book a farm tour right on that website too. Everything's on there.
So, is everybody real savvy with the logging in and doing everything online, or you still have to sort of lead folks? Do you like put packages together? I don't know. People come to Hawaii and they're like, oh, how do I check it out? How else do you get the word out? Because again, it's sort of a niche sort of thing. So you know how many people are landing in Kona every day, you know, from wherever the place. But how do you direct them up that way?
Well, we are on Facebook and on Instagram, you know, and so when people land here, they'll probably, if they're connected with either, they'll get you know, to that we are here. I'll knock my water over. Right. So, yeah, and word of mouth. I mean, it's kind of, we've been getting some good reviews because these guys do such a great job with the tours, and you know, it's small Big Island, really, you know. So.
Well, I love it on the Kona side. It's a bit drier. We spent a couple years there, and then about 5 years over on the Hilo side. Hilo side's green and lush and beautiful, but it rains like crazy. So we'd always, to dry off, we'd go spend the weekend over in Kona, and the sun's usually shining, and you can usually get some good sun, and that kind of looks like Maklavena out there a little bit. You know, it's a little bit remote sort of space that you guys have there. So anyway, that's super cool. So So you guys are both from Hawaii?
Yes, born and raised.
Yeah.
Born and raised.
I'm actually from Hilo. I'm from the wet side.
Okay.
And I moved over to the dry side because of this weather here.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's I think the dry thing does better for me too. But hey, we'll see. Go ahead. You.
And I grew up on Oahu.
Okay. Yeah, big
So
shift
I've been
to the
here
Big
for-
Island.
What is that? Yeah, my husband grew up here.
Okay.
And so my in-laws are here in Waimea, and we live a little further out from them. But we've been here for 8 months now. And what brought us here is my daughter, probably. Yeah, she's 5 soon. And just kind of, we were ready to slow it down a bit. My husband, his intention was always to move back to the Big Island.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Big Island is great, and there's lots of things going, but it seems like things are moving a little bit away from Kona and more towards Waikoloa. Are you seeing traffic from both areas there? I guess from the entire Big Island, you're seeing folks come and visit you.
Yeah, it is getting, I mean, you could probably say a lot better.
Yeah, it's, we see more activity happening towards that and more buildup happening on that end of the island. And we know that because it creates lots of traffic. And, you know, towards the end of the day, you'll see all that traffic coming
Yeah,
back.
Kona is so, you know, you love Kona, but there's got some it's got some traffic there a little bit sometimes. Depends on where you're trying to go. Certain times of the day, just, you know, you just have to let that little you know, if you want to talk about traffic jams, nothing like Oahu, but it's still a little bit of a still a little bit of a wait. So when you're not here, you know, harvesting salt, where are you and your family? Where do you find yourselves on the weekends or after hours? Anybody surf?
Well, we do outrigger paddling, so and it's now paddling season. So, and that's why I actually asked you, how long is this podcast?
She's like, I got practice to go to right now, and this guy, I don't know, So yeah, I've got a good friend out there, Ramona Crivello, who's a big paddler
Ramona,
out there. Yeah, she's
She's
long
actually
time.
family. She's
Oh,
actually
really?
family. Yes.
Oh no,
yes.
she's the coolest ever. But anyway, I love Kona, and there's just an entirely different vibe in Kona.
Yeah.
So again, recommend anybody who's wanting to get away and just like you say, slow it down. I love getting out of the hotel or whatever in the morning, walking down Ali'i Drive in those plumerias and Ali'i Drive. Just that smell is just intoxicating, you know. And every time I go back, it's like this whole flush of like, you know, memories and things come back. So Kona's definitely a gem on the Big Island. Now, how do you, what kind of, you know, businesses they try to connect and network and especially in the smaller areas, rural areas? I guess you could consider Kona a bit rural. You know, how do you connect with other businesses, and do you guys have, now coming out of the pandemic, I know there's different organizations like, you know, the Lions and different service groups that start going and things like that. How do you guys engage with the community? I know you said you give back, but is there things that you're doing where, you know, these community events as they're opening back up?
Yeah, so I mean, events specifically, I think we have a lot of different ideas right now. We're trying to reel in. We definitely would love to do more community type events here at the farm because we have so whether it be bring like a particular nonprofit that is doing great things in the area, starting off Memorial Day weekend, we are going to be showing off our give back partner, so and just invite a few friends down and kind of just very non-threatening, just listen and allow them to share what they do and kind of have an open house here at the farm. But also our space, just as far as the community, we have different events. It doesn't have to be a private event. We do yoga, like a full moon yoga down here. We'd love to be able to open up for other community events, potentially concerts in the future.
Sure.
Where, you know, it's just another space where people can enjoy their family and really, enjoy our space.
I believe right around the corner we'll be having some kids come over from one of the local schools here.
That seems really important.
Right, come down, and they're not the first group of kids. We've had another family actually that does lots of YouTube videos, and so they came down, shopped the farm. They did a little taste testing. Chef Jeff did a cooking, and this video is just broadcasted all over.
Right.
90% of North American schools, elementary schools.
Yeah, so in that sense, definitely giving back to the community. And I believe we have 70 youth that's coming in a few weeks.
Yeah,
So
because again, we've always, another thing on Hawaii Boss, we're trying to look for sustainable like work and people who would be able to do this kind of work into the future, and getting youth, engaged in, we send them all off to college and then they never come back. So I think there's an opportunity for us if we train them on the needs of what the island needs, and then well, you're supposed to grow up to be a doctor. Well, how about a salt farmer? Does that make sense, Dad? Or whatever. It's just there's some changes that maybe we can consider, that maybe these are viable, paths of living in Hawaii, and that's why some of us are trying to figure that out. On Hawaii Boss, how do we create this place for us to continue to live, our children too, and our grandchildren, to live here without having to worry, because the cost. You must be feeling some cost with the different changes that are going on. Gas, fuel, different things. Is that impacting you folks?
well, here on the salt farm, we're moving in the direction of being fully sustainable on the natural resources. So, the salt that we produce is naturally evaporated. Right now, we do use an energy source, but we are moving in that direction of having these hot houses where it'll move us away from some of the tubing that we have, which is required by the Department of Health. Mm-hmm. And also, because of the type of material that we're using, it does create really good heat for us. So with that, it'll move us away from the electricity. But at that point, we'll be fully sustainable on our natural resources. And so even when people come down, even kids, they don't expect, well, what is a salt farm? We don't really know. But there's so much background, so much cultural and historical information about that. Everything here is naturally done, manually done, and so you basically do really good salt of the earth kind of work,
That's right.
Just really good stuff here.
And good science too.
Yeah, good science.
I mean, I'm no expert, but I know we are in an area, we're in OTIC, the Ocean Park. We're in Nelha Natural Energy Lab. So there's a lot of businesses, industries in the area, and probably a lot that I don't understand. But yes, just as you're talking about, I think as people start to understand more of what's going on here and the different businesses utilizing and how they're able to maybe generate energy or use the natural resources in a way, I think, and educating the children and being able to share that with the keiki and bring them in on it, I think that, that lends itself and it pairs nicely to, there are a lot of things, opportunities.
Right. So it sounds like that you've captured a vision, and that you want, it really goes back to Hawaii, and what it seems so grounded, like you say, salt of the earth and grounded in Hawaii. It matches so much. It seems like what Hawaii businesses should be doing and how they should do it, particularly as a natural Hawaii resource that you guys are providing and harvesting and providing for the world. Now, what are some of the products that I see an array of products in the back there? If you can go online and find all of these things, what kind of items can folks get or expect to see on the website?
Yeah, absolutely. So here you go.
All right. Hey, you looked ready for that. Oh my God. I was like, whew.
So this is our 100% pure Hawaiian salt. This is in our coarse grind. You can use this in a grinder, but I mean, we talk about the process. It's very labor intensive. But the beautiful thing with this salt is we have some right here. We don't bleach it. We don't add anything to it. You see this nice, beautiful white? That's all natural. That's just the evaporation process. And then this is what our magnesium drops looks like. That's a little dropper. Just put it in your water. And it helps me with a better night's sleep, with occasional leg cramps like people talked about. And also digestion too. I mean, basically we clean our water so well these days. You got all the stuff that's supposed to be in there,
Right. All the minerals that help create a good bio situation in your stomach, your gut health.
Bioabsorbable too.
Okay. So now it seems like these products, you guys have the every year, except through the pandemic you didn't have it, but for the Ironman, it seems like they'd love some magnesium, liquid magnesium, as they come on board. Are they having it this year? Or do they think they're going to have it in 2023?
I thought they were.
22?
I could be wrong. But I thought that they were.
But for health, again, it sounds like you guys have products related to health and for athletes.
Yeah.
There's tons of athletes that go and train there year round and try to, because again, it's beautiful, but they're in some harsh conditions out there on the 100 miles worth of just brutal
Hiking.
lava fields.
Yeah.
And so that salt replenishment, so
Perfect.
perfect, right? Some people are a little bit worried in how to add and not to add too much, but it sounds like yours has less sodium. I think that's what we're worried about is the sodium piece. The salt piece creates a balance and homeostasis,
Right.
I guess, but it's the sodium that we have to be cautious of. But so I also saw that Guy Fieri came and visited you guys. So he must like your salt. Tell us about that. How was that fun?
Oh, he's such a fun guy.
Uh-huh.
He's just amazing. Very down to earth, easy to get along with. He came with the crew, of course, and his son and his nephew, and just it's pretty funny, that one. Yeah, it was nice to have here.
Well,
But with that exposure with Guy came a lot of exposure with others, which is good as well. But he appreciates our salt, and it was sincere appreciation.
Right. It's cool when especially Hawaii, you get special visitors, maybe celebrities every once in a while that come through. But again, if you're well known or not known, we still want you to come and check out this salt because it's the best that Hawaii. It's Hawaii's only natural salt producer. Is that correct?
Well, not the only deep sea water. 2,200 feet of deep sea water. We're the only one.
That good old fashioned 900-year-old Iceland water that we get to pull it from. See, this is specialty stuff here, guys. Like fine wine or fine whiskey, but it's salt. It's the salt version of it. Okay, so awesome. So, Jen, are you a paddler too? We never heard what you like to do on the weekends and get away. Sounds like
I like to try to surf.
Okay.
You hear the try to in there? Yeah, I enjoy the water. So we're usually, my daughter is like a little fish, and so we're usually at the beach or at the ocean or visiting with friends and family.
Well, lots of different places. You got to watch out for the Vana over here, though. Over in Kona, those little not lots of sand over on Oahu, but
I told friends, I'm like, it's a little sharper here.
Yes, you have to sort of walk lightly on those the reef over there. But again, but lots of that then leads itself to lots of great snorkeling and all those things. Do you have a place to enter into the water from your location? I mean, it's right on 7 acres. I don't know how much it bridges the.
You can enter, but it's very dangerous.
Yeah,
there's so much that deep shelf.
Right.
It's not recommended. I mean, even when people come to visit, we tell them, it's very unpredictable. In Hawaii in general, you need to be very respectful of the ocean, right? But also because 100 yards off this coast, it drops to like 1,000 feet, So the energy coming through is very strong and it can be very powerful on days. So we don't recommend it. I mean, sometimes you'll see like fishermen along the coastline, but they do look like they know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. It could. It's like you said. It's in the 1800s when that came down, so it's very raw and very. We were over on the other side when the volcano was pouring into the ocean over there, and that whole beach is a big brand new black sand beach, and the awe of nature is just on display on the Big Island, and so we're fortunate to hear from the two of you at a very unique salt farm, a very unique industry. We're glad we came to this boss's office, and I'm hopeful to get over there because I'd love to. Because where you're at looks like there's a nice breeze there, and so everybody, once you get to Kona, make sure you visit the Kona Salt Farm and visit Jen and Ipo, and they will make sure that everything you wanted to know about salt but were afraid to ask. These two ladies will help you out. And also get some great views and all that. And so, ladies, again, before we head out and what are some things, if anything, you'd like to say to the Hawaii Boss crew listening in out there and about your place and about some final thoughts there?
Well, if you're ever in this area of Keahole Point, come down to the Kona Salt Farm. Come to visit us. We'll show you around. You'll do a little taste testing. I think you'll be quite pleased by the end of your stay here. Very
Awesome.
interesting. Very, very
Yes.
interesting. So you're
Well,
welcome. Come on
Awesome.
down.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on, and I'm going to take you up on that when I get over there. But I got to make sure the waves are okay before I head over. So I'll have to call you guys. How the waves doing? You're out paddling tonight, Ipo. Let us know how it's going out there, if it's big or not. Big south swell coming.
Yeah, and thank
Anyway.
you so much for allowing us to share about our farm.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure for us to learn all these new things that is possible on Hawaii, and I guess you're living it for us and helping us to see that there's these opportunities. So thanks to both of you, and until next time, aloha.
Aloha.
Thanks, David.
Make sure to subscribe to Hawaii Boss and follow us on social media at Hawaii Boss Podcast at the links in the description. We'll see you soon in the boss's office.